Hotter than hell.
Gives you hell, baby!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hotter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, Hotter Than Hellions. Welcome back to the Hotter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host, actually one of your hosts, and I'm joined as always by
BC
and
BB.
And our keyboard player this evening will be
Dylan, who is celebrating the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup.
absolutely
52 years, and we did it.
We love it. And another blue team will be the Stanley Cup champions next year. That will be the Columbus Blue
The
Jackets.
Blues again.
No, I don't.
Yeah, they
I don't.
won it in Game
No,
7.
they're going to trade everybody away in the offseason, so it's going to be Columbus Blue Jackets. But congratulations,
Great
St.
job,
Louis Blues.
Blues.
Good job. In
Proud of you guys.
January, they were in dead last, and they ended up winning the Stanley Cup, so dreams can come true, BB. Guys, welcome back. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's great out there. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, sharing us, and getting the flow going here, the Hotter Than Hell podcast. We have a great time doing this. Hope everyone's doing good. Before we get into our usual kind of stuff here, I want to give a shout out to the Ages of Rock podcast with Bill, Alan, and Dennis. They had me on their podcast. It'll be a couple weeks ago by the time you guys hear this, and you'll have seen it on Facebook, but I want to give them a good shout out. They have an excellent podcast. They're kind of like us. They just have a general discussion about rock music and metal and stuff. They do a lot of Kiss stuff, and they have a lot of really cool interviews too. And so, guys, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll be seeing you guys in Nashville in a couple weeks. So check those guys out. Give them a shot. Ages of Rock podcast. Really cool guys. BB, where were we last week?
We were rubbing elbows with the great guitarist Nita Strauss. Fantastic guitar player. She put together a band with her boyfriend and producer, and I think he's like everything under the sun for her. Josh, and his last name begins with a V, and I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce that. But then she brought along Kat Scarlett from Femme Fatale that she was in, and the band itself just fantastic. They sang like one song. They did Alice Cooper's 18. Kat sang that, but everything else was all instrumental, just hard grinding rock and roll. It was fantastic.
It was fucking unbelievable, and she just absolutely shredded. And they actually did an instrumental version of Aces High from Maiden. Fucking cranked. Right. The crowd was singing along with it. It was friggin' excellent. And we did the VIP, BB and I. So we met Nita and talked to her, and she did like a Q&A for maybe half hour or so. Got her picture taken with her, and she signed our stuff. And she was really cool, really down to earth. And I told the guys in Ages of Rock, for as beautiful and as talented she is also that nice. Just like so cool, like. She, answered everything that everybody asked. There was, she's like a major into the fitness thing. She does a thing called Body Shred, and she's going to be revamping that. It's going to be in January, and she's really excited about that. And it sounded pretty cool. It was great, and she opened up for Paul Gilbert, and Paul Gilbert was like, he was so cool.
Yeah.
He was like total two different types of music though. Like Nita was shredding and just like metal rock and tearing it up, and Paul Gilbert was like, there was like some bluesy stuff, some rock stuff, like no metal at all and no vocals, but like he had this cool guitar, and he had a magnetic thing on it where the slide was, and any song that he did that had any vocals, he did the vocal parts with the guitar. And he did some Mr. Big, and he did some of his solo stuff, but he was just fantastic. Very, very animated on stage. Like he would do the faces to the notes he's playing. Real cool. He would describe the songs and shit like that, and like real funny. And he was really good too.
Yeah, he really got the crowd into it. But let me tell you, he just makes playing a guitar look so easy. It's like you and I breathing.
Yeah, it was so effortless.
It just blows my mind, like he can just make those sounds come out of that guitar.
Yeah, and it's just like totally effortless. You watch this guy play guitar, and you're like, holy shit, like, why can't I do that? Well, because like I can't. But like it seems like just like second nature to him. Like it's just the guitar is just an extension of his body. It's just fucking absolutely amazing.
It just, another thing that just blew my mind that we actually went to a show that out of the two people playing, there was one song sung, and it was just mind blowing the whole night long. Like when was the last time you went to a concert? You only heard one song sung.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, and Paul Gilbert's band was phenomenal. They had a keyboard player, bass player, and a drummer. And let me revert back to Nita's band really quick too. If you're familiar with like the band Man of War, the guys they're all like muscle dudes. Like they got nothing on Nita's band. These guys were like fucking like bodybuilder guys, and they just tore it up. Josh, who is Nita's boyfriend and drummer, I've never ever ever seen anybody hit the drums as hard as this motherfucker. Holy shit! And I said to him after, I said I don't know how your cymbals made it through the fucking show. Like unbelievable. If there's a ton of videos out there, her playing live with him. Just you don't see a lot of him because I mean you got to look at Nita, but like watch him play drums when he fucking plays. Like holy shit! Like I don't know how he didn't break shit during that show.
Yeah.
Just
the other guitar player was Johnny Young.
Johnny Young, okay, and the bass player I'm not sure what his name was, but like great band. They were tight, and he played guitar too, and he tore it up too. He
was
he
really
did
good.
some soloing too. So if you get a chance, Nita, I think she may be wrapping up her tour because she's going out with Alice very soon. And but just a phenomenal show, and I'm sure Paul Gilbert's still out there playing. Sonny saw Paul Gilbert a couple days before we did, and he said they were phenomenal. So check those guys out. And before we get into it, fellas, what are we listening to? What do we got going? Dylan, how about you? We haven't heard much from you tonight. Well, or you either, BC. We'll let Dylan go first.
I've been listening to a local band for us, but they're pretty national at this point. Motionless in White. They just came out with a brand new album called Disguise. I've been listening to that. The album's a bit hit or miss. There's some songs I could do without, but for the most part, I really enjoy most of the album. And it's got some metalcore vibe to it, and there's a little bit of new metal thrown in there, some Manson type stuff going. But it's a good album. Good band too.
All right, BC, how are you?
Not counting today's topic, I hit the shuffle play like I was explaining to you before.
Yeah.
And just everybody underneath the sun, and some bands I probably haven't listened to in 5, 6, 7 years. It's very interesting.
Such as?
Just like, say Bon Jovi
Little
stuff
Seaver.
that I'd never heard like in years and years, and some other band I'm going to mention later, and some off-vein stuff other than No Respect
Okay.
from their other albums that a lot of people don't even know they have. Just forgot about all this stuff.
So your shuffle playboy for this week.
I've shuffle played
Playboy.
for like 12 hours one day.
All right, cool. BB, what do you got going?
I have been blowing up my headphones with the Rod's new album, Brotherhood of Metal, that came out. And hopefully down the road we'll be getting with those guys and doing a whole total discussion of this album. But let me tell you, front to back, we got an early clip of what was to come of this album, and it definitely did not disappoint. If you guys are out there who are looking to hear fantastic new rock and heavy metal, you guys have to pick up this album from the Rods because they're not that popular in the U.S. And still to this day, I do not know why. This album is phenomenal. Brotherhood of Metal, the opening song is great. Tyrant King, another great rock and tune right in the middle. Mind-blowing album. Carl, you did a great job with it, and the boys, so props to them.
All right. And actually, they're the first one that I have written down, too. I've been rocking the shit out of the new Rods album. Just a phenomenal album. Louder Than Loud. 1982 is a friggin' fantastic song. I was going to say phenomenal and fantastic together.
Phenomenal.
Fantastical. I've been listening to that. I've been listening to a lot of Rough Cut. I picked up the 2 studio albums of Rough Cut on vinyl in the last week or so I've been rocking to them. And I was on a good Wasp kick this last week, just shredding some Wasp, checking them out. And actually, I picked up Double Live Assassins on vinyl, which they literally just put that. They just put that on iTunes, and I was listening to it, and I came across it, and I was like, it was expensive. It was a little expensive, but I've never seen it on vinyl before, so I just fucking grabbed it up. So there's what we're listening to, guys. BC's shuffling shit around, and the only band he could think of was Bon Jovi and Bane.
I've been listening to Bon Jovi and Poison.
Yeah, they have some good stuff. I know. Rods for BB and myself. I also had some Rough Cut and some Wasp going. Dylan had a little Motionless in White. Guys, check those out, and especially check out the new Rod's album. It fucking kicks ass. Smoke on the Horizon is another song on there that just like totally fucking tears it up. One more thing before we get into our news section. I want to thank Colin Holohan for his Facebook recommendation. We really appreciate it. And, thanks for listening and tuning in. And hope you stick with us. We got a lot of cool shit coming up. And thanks, everybody, for listening. Let's take a quick break, and we'll do some news.
Hey, let's get into the news, Dylan. What do you got here for us, kid?
Well, we'll start off with the sad news first. We recently discovered that Dave Mustaine was diagnosed with throat cancer, and as such, Megadeth canceled the majority of their upcoming tour. A quote from Dave Mustaine is, "I've been diagnosed with throat cancer. It's clearly something to be respected and faced head-on, but I faced obstacles before. I'm working closely with my doctors, and we've mapped out a treatment plan which they feel has a 90% success rate. Treatment has already begun. Unfortunately, this requires that we cancel most shows this year. The 2019 Mega Cruise will happen, and the band will be part of it in some form. Megadeth will be back on the road ASAP." So it's really sad news. It seems like cancer diagnoses are coming out left and right anymore, right, guys?
Yeah, it sucks really bad. Two great friends of ours that are good friends of this podcast are undergoing treatment for it right now. Chooch and R.A., you guys are awesome. Hang tough.
Yeah, keep fighting a good fight, and like everybody else at this table, it's one of those diseases that you have a hard time shaking, and hope these guys can shake it, and the best of everybody involved here, and not many good words you can say about it.
You just be there for them and encourage
just there
them.
and hang tough.
I agree. It seems like every day more and
Hear
more.
someone new.
It's a new name. So here's Dave. I mean, like you said, he's taken on some physical things in the past. So best of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the cruise, I wonder if say the band will play and then like other guys will sing, because
Maybe.
I know when they had the Def Leppard cruise, I think Joe Elliott had like some kind of bronchitis or something like that, and a bunch of different guys sang songs. So I wonder if something like that may happen.
Maybe you'll hear Joey Belladonna singing Megadeth.
I'd rather hear John Bush singing Megadeth.
That'd be different.
Oh, yeah, they are playing that too, aren't they?
Yeah, so best of luck to Dave. And what else you got, though?
So, in a little happier news, Marilyn Manson finally has a new drummer. Gil Sharon was his drummer, left the band.
Like Gary's brother?
No, it is not. So the drummer from HO 9909, Brandon Pertzborn, is now the drummer for Marilyn Manson. I know none of you guys are really big Manson fans, right?
He's going on tour with Zombie, right? This summer?
They've been on tour, and I think they're continuing that tour. And they did a cool cover of Helter Skelter, if you guys have heard it.
Oh, so this guy's jumping right in, huh?
Yeah, he's going in. I guess the Dillinger Escape Plan's drummer is filling in for him in his other band. Yeah. So that's pretty cool that we have a new drummer for Marilyn Manson. So on to a band that BB I know you love, Black Label Society.
Who?
Announced. They're new.
They
have their North American tour planned. I think they're only going for almost basically a month. From September to October.
Yeah, there's not a lot of dates yet. Hopefully they'll add some more.
Yeah, because
they're just backed up by I think they're doing the Sonic Brew front to back, if I'm not mistaken, because I think it's like the 20th anniversary. They just re-released it, so they may be doing that in its entirety.
I wish they were playing around here because Dillinger, oh my god, that was last time. That was last news thing. Black Dahlia Murder's playing with them, and they're a fantastic band. But BC, you've seen Black Label live. What do you think?
I wouldn't mind catching a show. I mean, they always kick ass. I mean, we almost lost our life one of the times we saw them. So
That's right.
Because the children of Bodom, correct?
We just have to do better timing. That's all.
Yeah, we'll make sure we know there's two opening bands and not just one. And
There's nothing close to us, is it?
Not really. No, I think the closest is Massachusetts, maybe.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's a very much West Coast and down south, from the looks of it.
BB was a real fan. He'd be there. He'd be going.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be at every show, weren't you?
I'm
Dave
gonna
Matthews
try.
Band.
Well,
follow them like the Grateful
I
Dead.
filled out the job application online to be a roadie. I was going to make coffee for him, but I didn't get a call back, so I guess I didn't Guess I didn't get the gig.
Doesn't he have his own coffee?
Yeah.
Coffee bringing.
I just go make it. I'll bring my Keurig. I'll just make him coffee.
There you
Here you go, Mr. Wild.
And the final piece of news, a band that everybody at the table likes, Saxon, they're finally starting writing music to follow up their last album, Thunderbolt, which we all loved back in 2018. Fantastic album. That was on quite a bit of our lists at the end of the year, and we saw them live last year as well. And I'm really excited to hear what they have in store.
I agree with you. I mean, to me, I think they're one of the bands that keep getting stronger. So I'm excited to see what's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thunderbolt was really, really good, and hopefully they're going to stay in the same realm from that album, and they'll have another hit on their hands with that.
And I guess they're also releasing The Eagle Has Landed 40 on August 2nd. So another live album for them as well. And how many actual Eagle Has Landed albums is that? Is that 4 or 5?
I think it's 4. I think.
Because I think there's 3, and then this one will be 4,
Jeepers.
but I'm not too sure. Dad, what do you think?
I can't wait. I love Saxon, and I think August. I think the new one's coming out.
Yeah, August
Eagles
2nd.
Landed 40 live, and there's already 747 Strangers of the Night is already released. I don't know if they consider it a single or just an early release or whatever. And it's 40. I guess it's 40 years, but it's also 40 songs on it.
Wow.
and they
That's awesome.
Biff just had an interview with I couldn't tell you who, that he had such a hard time picking songs because I mean how many versions of Motorcycle Man do you need to fucking hear?
Correct.
But it's going to be cool. There's some deep tracks there from a lot of the stuff from the 90s and the 2000s, and I know BC's mentioned it many times before that they're a band that just keeps cranking them out, and they get better all the time. They're like, I'm not a wine drinker, but they say it gets better with age, and I think they do, and I'm looking forward to it.
And hey, for you collectors out there, there's a 747 Signature Edition box set, limited to only 747 copies, that also includes an exclusive 23 Plectrum set featuring album artwork from all 22 Saxon studio albums and a limited edition Eagles Landed 40 Plectrum. And it also comes with Biff's original handwritten lyric sheet of the 747 Strangers of the Night song, with each print being hand-numbered and autographed by Biff. So if you guys want to have some Saxon merch,
Saxon merch on your wall, BC.
go out for that.
Some extra Saxonage.
Whoa.
It'd be $747.
Yeah. Yeah, so cough it up.
Yeah, and if you want to pre-purchase the Eagles Landed 40 for the vinyl, it's $156 for pre-order on Amazon.
Is that the there's like a box one? Is that the box one?
I don't know.
Well, you guys will probably buy it, right? Why don't you guys chip in and you could have alternate days? To,
I may
It'd be like
I
a
may do that.
kid, just
you have them
You
Monday,
have 'em one
Wednesday,
week.
Friday, Tuesday, Thursday,
come pick
Saturdays,
up Saxon.
and
Pick up
Sunday
little
it goes to
Saxon.
BB.
Picked up a little Saxon.
Okay, so that's all the news we have this week, and let's go right back into listening to the thrash metal.
All right, BC, are you thrilled by that fucking news or
I
what?
love news. Because if I didn't listen to this, I would not know what's going on in the world.
That's right. That's right.
Thank God.
How about BB?
Love it.
Good news for you?
Good news, bad news. All news is good news with Gary Gnu.
Gary news.
Yeah.
Wow, we don't know. Maybe we'll get him on someday.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, as you guys saw by the title, which we're not sure what Dylan's going to call this episode yet,
I don't know either.
but he always comes up with something cool. So we're going to get our thrash on today. We're going to talk about the big 4 of thrash according to the tour, plus one more. We're going to throw Exodus in there, which I think is another band that I think is
I think we found the name of the episode.
What?
The Big 4 and one more.
big 4. I like that. All right, we
There
can
you
do
go.
that. All right.
Here it is.
I've been waiting to do an episode like this for a long time, and especially lately, because you guys know if you're been listening faithfully, I've been listening to a lot of like more extreme and heavier music lately, and this was right up my alley for the thing. So the first Exodus album we're going to do is Bonded by Blood. Came out April 25th, 1985. Producer was Mark Whitaker.
Well, before you get into Exodus, maybe you should say what other bands we're going to be covering as well. and we're starting with Exodus.
Okay. We're going to do Exodus. We're going to do Anthrax, Slayer, Megadeth, and Metallica. How's that?
That's good.
And I'll name the albums when
We'll
we do
save
them.
the
Okay.
albums, but
All right.
what are considered their most popular album?
Okay.
Give or take.
Not their best, but maybe their most popular.
For the most part, they're best.
To be determined. Okay. Bonded by Blood. Like I said, it came out April 25th, 1985. It was supposed to come out the year before. And this album was supposed to be called A Lesson in Violence, but they couldn't apparently find a suitable cover for the album. And they were tied up with that, and it got released like almost a year later, which I think kind of did them a really disservice, because they were kind of the outsiders then, because like all the other stuff was pretty much going good. Like Megadeth was more established, and Metallica and bands like that, and these guys kind of seemed like they got in on the tail end of it, but these guys were right along with them, because Kirk Hammett from Metallica came from Exodus, and there was a song called Impaler that was going to be on this album, but it was co-written by Kirk Hammett. It was part of the riff that they used for Trapped Under Ice that they used on the unbelievably awesome Ride the Lightning album. So they didn't use that song till like later on. I enjoyed this album. A lot of cool songs on there. Go ahead.
I want to give a correction. This actually came out before Megadeth's first album, because Megadeth's first album came out June 12th of 1985, and this one came out on April 25th.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected. Thank you.
Sorry to.
No, that's okay. I didn't know that. I always thought that they were like the last one to the table. All right, I stand corrected. Thank you, Dylan. I say that with no malice at all.
I'm sorry. I don't want
No
people-
problem. Let's get a quick thought about this album. We'll go around. Dylan, how about you first?
It's musically, this is a good album. Production wise, it could be better. And I mean, it's their first album, so the production's not going to be stellar. But if you look at the other bands that we're going to be talking about today, I think they had stronger sounding first albums than Exodus did. I think a lot of that has to do with the vocals, and I think BC agrees with me. Paul Baloff, he's a little too shrieky at times on this album. There are times where he absolutely nails it, and I think actually the back half of this album is really strong, and I really love all the songs towards the end. But the first couple songs, it felt like it took my ear a little bit to get used to the sound, and it was probably the album that took me the longest to get into, I'll say.
All right, BB.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as Dill. This one took a little bit longer to grasp, and I think it was the vocals. And it seemed like, especially in the first song, it seems like there's somewhat of an echo to his vocals. So I don't know if that's on purpose, because this is the first time I've ever listened to Exodus, because this is way out of my wheelhouse. So maybe the other albums, it's not so echoey, but
Well, this is the only studio album that he sings on.
oh, okay. So that was the one thing right out of the gate that I heard.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I mean, I'm not really big up on Exodus, but first thing that just hit me is the vocals and turned me off. But musically, I mean, and now after what I found out earlier today, I'm gonna have to
Give it another shot.
something else.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I love Exodus. They're one of my top tier bands that I've always enjoyed their stuff. And like I said, this is the only album that Paul Baloff actually sang like on a studio album. He was on a live album later on in their career. He came back and then he ended up passing away. I don't mind this album. I'm not crazy about we talked about. I'm not crazy about the production. A couple songs that I like, and then there were none. But I don't like the whoa. I fucking hate that. And then I wish they would cut that out. I fucking hate that. Bonded by Blood is really good. Piranha is fucking excellent. Strike of the Beast is really good. The thing for me is I don't like the drum sound in this one. There's like the guitars I like, and really violent themed album. And I think at times, if you go through the lyrics as you listen to this album, they try a little too hard to be evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and even just like some of the lyrics too, I think some of it's a little too contrived, but it's it's their first album, and they're feeling their way through stuff, but I don't mind it. I just I'm not crazy about the production, They re-recorded this album in 2008 with the newest incarnation of the band at that time, and Rob Dukes is the singer on that, and way better. A lot of people, the purists out there, like they want the original whatever, but I want the good sounding album. So check it out. It's called Let There Be Blood. It came out in 2008. It's fucking excellent. It's the same exact songs that are on this, updated sound, updated production. The production's phenomenal on it, and I enjoy Rob Duke's vocals way more than I did on this one. Just give me a couple songs, guys, and we can wrap this one up real quick. Dylan.
Bonded by Blood's a great opening track. I really like Strike of the Beast and Piranha. Like I said, the songs are absolutely phenomenal. If they were just produced a little better, I would have no problems with this album, because the musicianship is not at fault here. It's the production quality for me, because everybody's like, there's some really awesome riffs in it, and there's some really good playing. So
yeah, the lead guitar work is phenomenal on this album. There's a ton of fucking shredding on this album.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with the music wise. Now I'm very curious to hear that other album. I love to listen to this and that other album.
Listen to them back to back. It's like,
and see what see the difference.
Kick ass. I just gave BC a little snippet of it before you came, and
wow,
and it's like totally updated. So
totally updated in the vocals.
Yeah.
The couple that I like Bonded by Blood. I also like Exodus and Piranha. I thought Piranha was one of the better songs of the album. The bass drum sounded fantastic, and the guitar solo in it was like really, really cool. But once again, I'm really curious, because what that sounds like. So I'm really gonna have to check that out, because like everybody else said, the music is fantastic. The vocals, the production, a little lackluster. What'd you think, BC?
Overall, music-wise, you can see the heart of the album. Bonded by Blood, like you said, Piranha, they're good ones. Deliver Us to Evil. I think that, like Dylan said, the later half picks up
better.
A little bit better.
Yeah, side 2 is definitely the winner here.
The winner there, but
you're playing side 2 and you're not flipping it.
But now I'm thinking about the updated version.
Yeah, definitely check that out. I think it's really a really good album. All right, so what we did was, how we wanted to do this episode was, we wanted to throw Exodus in there first, so then we wanted to do the bands of the Big Four in the order that they played on the tour, and each of us took an album to take the lead on, and Dylan was dying to do this one, so Dylan's going to go with Anthrax, Among the Living. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, the first alphabetically shall be the first we talk about. And actually, this was, I believe, the second last album to come out, like chronologically, out of the ones we talked about today. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, it was. Because all the other ones were 86, except for Bonded by Blood, which was 85, and then Rust in Pieces, 90. But Among the Living, we're talking about, the third studio album from Anthrax. It came out March 22nd, 1987. It was produced by Eddie Kramer and Johnny Z. The first album to not be produced by Carl Kennedy, our good friend that we talked about. He had produced their first two albums, Fistful of Metal and Spreading the Disease. And it was recorded in Compass Point Studios in Nassau, Bahamas, which a lot of albums that we enjoy were recorded there. Back in Black from AC/DC, Peace of Mind from Iron Maiden, the second best Iron Maiden album. And funny thing about this album, so Eddie Kramer, as we know, is a pretty prolific producer. He's done a lot of work with Aerosmith, with Kiss. He, of course, did Alive, which we were talking about a couple episodes ago.
BB's favorite Alive, too.
Yes, his favorite Alive, too. But apparently the band was arguing with Eddie Kramer because the album was coming out too polished, and it was too Eddie Kramer-ish and not enough Anthrax. So they were literally pulling rank and being like, hey, man, I think Scott Ian said, listen, you're going to be able to do millions of albums after this. This might be our last album we ever do, so can we please have it be more Anthrax? Which I thought was really funny.
Anthrax, Eddie Kramer, Anthrax, Eddie Kramer.
Exactly. So this I believe is Anthrax's best album, front to back. I love this album with all my heart. Stop shaking your head. We're not talking about John Bush. We're talking about the great Joey Belladonna. So I'll just run through the tracks real quick. Among the Living, based off of Stephen King's The Stand. Great song. I love that song. A really good opener, I think, and a good, I would say a good bookend to Spreading the Disease, since the first words we hear in this album are disease, disease, spreading the disease. So it's a nice reference to what came before, while also sticking with the subject of the song. Cotton and Mosh, that was, I believe, when a roadie of theirs was actually caught in a mosh, and they're like, "Hey man, what happened to you?" He's like, "Oh, I got caught in a mosh, man." And they're like, "Okay, cool, that's a cool name for for a song." I Am the Law, based off of the comic book 2001 AD, which is Judge Dredd. First name's Judge, last name's Dredd. Break the law, you wind up dead. Great song, classic. They usually close their show sometimes with it. They definitely, I think they closed the Big Four show with it. Eeful Nickentessen, NFL for short.
I can never pronounce that.
I was literally going through it this morning trying to say it correctly. Backwards, it's Nice Fucking Life, and it's about drug abuse and overdosing and suicide, and very very sad song. It's about John Belushi specifically, and it's a great song though. Nice. I love the gang vocals in this album, and that's one song that has the good gang vocals. A Skeleton in the Closet is based off of the Stephen King short story Apt Pupil, and another great song. I love the chorus, and they switch up they first do the in the closet, and then they do the hiding in the closet. The gang vocals are so good on this album. And then side 2, you opening up with Indians, which is a classic track. The chorus is the weakest part of it, but the rest of the track is fucking phenomenal. And the war dance is iconic. One World, it's a song about peace and like, hey, why are we fighting? We're all one world. We're one people. But it's not like too preachy. I think it's just the right amount. It's pretty good. ADI, The Horror of It All, I believe was about Cliff Burton after he passed away. Really sad idea. And the ADI stands for Arabic Douche Intro. Because it starts off with that cool, mysterious intro. And then, of course, the last song is Imitation of Life, which is a remake of a Stormtroopers of Death song called Aren't You Hungry? Why is your face like that?
No, I thought I missed a song when I was doing it. I didn't.
All in all, I love this album. Front to back, I think it's phenomenal. One of the best opening sides of an album, and it was one of the ones that I mentioned in our album about that. So what do you guys think? Dad, since you seem to not be agreeing with this being a good album.
I like about half of this album. I love Among the Living. I think it's fucking great. I'm the walking dude. I fucking love that. Cotton and Mosh is fucking phenomenal. I Am the Law's next. No, I'm skipping that one.
Eeful Nickentessen.
NFL. That's fucking excellent. And I didn't realize it was about John Bush. Or not, John Bush. John Belushi, I'm sorry.
He wasn't in the band
yet. That's wishful thinking, I guess. And I didn't know that it was about John Belushi at the time. And I wrote down, is this about John Belushi? Then I read about it, later on. And but it like really comes out. Even if you didn't know that and you knew the story of John Belushi, you would get that from there. And I did, and I was surprised.
Yeah.
Skeleton in the Closet is it's okay. Indians is great. Like Dylan said, that I hate the chorus in that. I'll go back to I Am the Law. Cool song, Judge Dredd. I like the pre-chorus in it. What is Drocket?
What?
What does Drocket mean? They do Drocket. I don't know what that means.
Is that what they're saying?
That's what it says. Well, that's what it says in the lyrics on the iTunes and on the one lyric thing that I got. And it says it's like DROKK it. I don't know what that means.
Sounds good.
It does. Maybe it just fits. It's like Drocket. I don't know what that means, but it sounds cool. One World. I don't care for the beginning. The main riff's okay. It's a stupid peace song. The lyrics are stupid. The solo's boring.
Okay, so it's slang from the comic. It's like kind of like fuck it or like just like.
Okay, I didn't know if it was something that they made up. But I figured it was something that was from the.
It's from the comic.
Okay, ADI. I don't like the song at all. Like it takes the solo section saves the song. It takes way too 6 minutes into the 7.5 minute song it takes for it to fucking kick in. I hate it. Imitation Life, it's got a good groove to it. It's pretty good. The tempo change is cool in it. The solo is pretty good. I think the lead guitar work is like really unimpressive on this fucking album. There's like no like cranking solos. Like listen to any of these other albums that we have, and even ones that I'm still not even a huge fan of. There's some fucking tearing it up on there. There's not a whole lot of that on this album, I don't think.
Are you besmirching the name of Dan Spitz?
Yes. And like some of them, they're like they have potential to be good, but they're just so short. And I don't know. There's more like rhythm, way more rhythm like sections than lead sections. I love the background vocals. The production is really good on this album. Like I said, I like about half of this album, but like the songs that I do like, I absolutely fucking love.
I do want to mention that Dan Spitz is now a watchmaker and does not play music at all.
I did read that too.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, well, okay. Dan Spitz was good in the band.
Okay. All right, that's me.
BB?
I love this album.
Thank you.
But I see where you're coming from. The bass and drums are definitely out front compared to the guitar work in this album. It's a very bass-heavy album to me. Caught in a Mosh, what I love about this song, there's so many layers of Joey's voice. He goes from screaming to a little bit heavy, then he comes back down to a little bit lighter side, then at the end he starts that higher vocals that he does. It just shows like his range that he has. It's just unbelievable. I Am the Law, I love towards the end. It gets really, really fast. I think that was really cool. The Harmony Gang vocals and Skeletons in the Closet, I love that song. Fantastic. The Indians, what I like about this song is it's almost like two songs in a way because it has that really cool, somewhat of like a. I want to say, I know Steve said he didn't like the chorus. I love the chorus in the song because he speeds it up so fast. You actually have to read the lyrics to actually really catch what he's saying. And then after he screams "War Dance," it gets to that heavier section for the other half of the end of the song, and it gets back to the beginning. It's really, really cool. ADI, I thought the guitar work was really great. That was probably one of the forefront guitar works that I noticed on this album, but I enjoy this album. I've said this several times. I love Joey Belladonna's voice. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my second Anthrax album I ever picked up, and like listening to this took me back to where you were at that stage in your life, or whatever you want to say, just because music does that. But overall, I like this. Not one of my all-time favorites of them, but this first 6 tracks to me holds me the best, and the last it leaves me at the very end. Not lose, but
Yeah. Okay.
I started drifting off into another road.
Okay.
But Indians and I Am the Law, and I cannot find maybe you guys I Am the Law, that version. What is that on that they play in this little?
Oh, they're in like a little radio station, I think.
Yeah.
It
What is
was
that
on a video. It was on a video. It was on one of the videos.
Did you do it acoustically?
No, they play.
No, they
electric-
tear it. It's fucking
tear it up.
fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
real good.
Yeah,
But they're
it's on
like-
one of the videos. It's
be like
not
them-
on a. I don't think it's a.
Sure.
But
I
it
listened
might
to
be.
it.
Is it on that Island Days Island Days live one and it's like a part at the end?
But listen to this, I'm like, and that, as soon as I hear
That is
song,
great. That I love that. I know exactly what you mean. But
Billy-
there is a video of that though.
Is-
Yeah.
I know I listened to it.
There's like maybe like 6 or 7 people watching in the studio.
There's a handful of people
Yeah.
and they just rip it.
It's fucking
off.
excellent. Yeah, I'll have to maybe see if that's on YouTube or
As soon as I
something.
heard this album, that brought me back. I'm like,
I have to
what
look
is
through my
that?
DVDs.
I gotta look through something. I gotta find it.
That's cool though. That's a fantastic version of them.
And if you want to hear really good versions of all of these songs, they do the entire album on Kings Among Scotland. They mix up the order a little bit, but they're really cool renditions of it. The crowd's really into it. Like hearing Joey do the chorus of Ifel Nickentessin, and the crowd is doing it right with him, like right at the start.
That is cool.
So it's a great album. I don't know. You liked more than half of it.
Huh?
You said 2 songs you didn't like, and you're like, oh, I only liked half of it.
All right. Well,
So
maybe a little more than half. Maybe
there you go.
2/3.
Yeah, so Anthrax, awesome band. It's a crime that they were the opening band, though, because they kicked ass. They were really good, too, for the Sofia, Bulgaria show.
Yeah.
They did a medley of Indians going into heaven and hell before it was overdone by everybody.
Yeah. And actually, Sunday, BC and I watched a portion of an Anthrax show from one of the festivals in Europe, and fucking cranked. I don't know where it was from, but I don't know. I don't even want to guess. It was either like Germany or France or one of them.
Germany or Switzerland?
I don't know, one of them. But it was cool though. All right, that was good.
Yep.
Sort of.
Okay.
You know I got to do that.
And I can't even bash. The
Yeah,
album
so
he's
so
covering.
they were the opening band for the Big Four, which I agree with Dylan. I don't know why they but you can see why they were, but like you hate someone's got to be first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone's got to be first. But if anyone out there has seen that DVD or that show, friggin' excellent. Actually, they did that. They played Yankee Stadium too.
Yeah, they
Doing
did.
that. And I don't know why the fuck we didn't go to that. I don't know
Sofia,
what the fucking deal
Bulgaria,
was.
and they did Yankee Stadium.
Because it was Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Okay, Boston.
If they played Fenway, we would have
we'll be
driven
right there.
5 hours instead of 3.
Paka Khan, the Harvard Yard.
Yeah.
It's stood up on a wall.
Yeah. So Anthrax got the crowd going, pumped them up,
The big
up.
green
And
monster.
then Dave Mustaine and the boys come out, and BC's going to talk about a little Megadeth.
And they blew the fucking place up, and it was over with. What more can you say about this album other than iconic?
Okay, well, that was.
All right. Iconic and
That's it.
we're done.
There's how many shirts that I got.
Okay, okay, we'll take a break for a gym now.
Megadeth, Rust in Peace, 1990. It was a weird time in Megadeth, I think, after their first 2 albums, and then they just kicked 2 guys out of the band, actually, and it was the first album for Marty Freeman and new drum tech, Nick Menza.
Nick
Rest his soul.
Menza.
But 4th album overall. Come on, it was nominated for a Grammy.
Yep.
They didn't win.
Nope.
I don't even know who won that year, but
It was Metallica, I think, because that was one of the Jeopardy questions.
Oh, was it?
I think it was. But anyways, that's
It was either Metallica or Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
No, they were the ones that beat. Dave Mustaine got the title for this album from a bumper sticker he was driving behind a car. I think that's the funniest thing about this whole thing that I learned about. Something about, I hope all your
Like your nuclear
nuclear
missiles rust in peace or something.
Rust in peace or something.
Yeah.
So he took it and ran with it. But it starts off with Holy War's Punishment Due, which is classic Megadeth with the open riff. And it's Hanner 18, kicks into Hanner 18, which those first 2 were the 2 singles released from this album back in the day. And still is in their live set.
Still live staples.
Take No Prisoners.
Take no
Crank
shit.
it. Take no shit. I don't want to sound like those fans who say I love everything, but so that's why I'm going to say
you do have-
Poison Was the Cure is probably my least favorite. I can probably do without that one on there.
You
For
do
some
have a
reason.
tattoo of this album on you.
I do, that's why I love it so much. But that'd be the one song I would probably, they say you got to take one off there, I would take that one off there. The rest of the album, Dawn Patrol, not really too fancy, but I just love the
Yeah. A little bass groove.
That's such a great. Then to close it off with the Rest in Peace, which was originally named Child Saint, which I don't know. Thank God.
Rest in peace sounds better.
Yeah, thank God they did go with that.
Rest in peace, Polaris.
Polaris. Not to be confused with the quads.
The quads.
The nuclear missile kind.
But I mean, in the album cover, to me, it's just a classic album cover. I think overall,
Yeah.
compared to, especially going back.
The first one's horrible. The first album is fucking terrible.
The redo is good of it, but the original is shit with the actual skull.
Yeah. I mean, as far as album covers, this one is just, even to this day, I think there's somebody going to get a better album cover with all their. I always get this mixed up. They had a Japanese prime minister on there, the West Germany president, Soviet leader, and of course George H.W. Bush is on there. And somebody else is on there.
The guy from
Vic
Germany,
Rattlehead.
I think. And Vic Rattlehead and the Alien.
Oh, yeah.
The Carbon Alien.
The carbon
The
alien.
Carbon
breaker.
president of reunified Germany. That's who it was. Anyways, but most of the things talk about, which to me this was different music back at that time because it's sex and party and rock and roll, and this is more about nuclear war and UFO.
The Punisher.
Punisher and Ireland and wars, and it was just such different music for me at that time, which I loved this album. BB.
Yeah, this especially the starting to Holy Rose and Hangar 18. What a great 1-2 punch to start off this album. Fantastic sounding album. Produced really, really good. Guitar work is a lot better than the Anthrax album. I love in the Holy Wars that there's like right in the middle there's that little like an India sounding like guitar sounding like that's so cool. Then it just like then it just pedal in the metal, just fast grinding riff right at the end. I love now. How do you pronounce that? Lucretia. That's probably the best song on the album for me. The vocals are fantastic. The guitar work is so good and fast, crazy. And the only thing I don't like about this album, BC, where the hell's the spoken word?
It is.
It's
in Dawn Patrol.
He's in Dawn Patrol.
There's
you get Dawn Patrol, and then there's a little bit at the end.
Dawn Patrol. That's all it is.
There's kind of in the Punishment Due part. The first part of the song is a little spoken.
Beginning of Rest in Peace, a little spoken word. Not enough spoken word for Dave Mustaine on this album.
He was building up. He was building up to it. He was.
Yeah, like
this was early spoken word.
The holier than that was just a message.
He didn't want to scare the new guys in the bit.
Yeah.
What is he talking?
No, but this is a really good album, and I enjoy it. I'm a big Megadeth fan, and there's really, to me, there's not a throwaway song on here. All of them are really kick-ass, like you said. I would get, Dawn Patrol is pretty much instrumental in a way, but the bass, it's fantastic. I love it, but
I mean, it's not that great. But to me, it's good.
If you're getting rid of one for me, that's the one. But I love this album.
And I forgot to mention, to me, I think with the addition of Nick Menza,
propelled them.
Gave it a little bit more push.
Their sound, and not only on the album, live and everything.
Yeah, it was
very underrated.
It was comparable to Priest getting Scott Travis.
Yeah.
And that was the same year, too. All right, rest in peace. I fucking love this album. I think it's fantastic. For those of you that don't know out there, we are all from Carbondale, Pennsylvania. And look up on the internet, look up Carbondale, Pennsylvania UFO. We are famous for a UFO landing in Carbondale here. It happened in 1974. Look it up. And so Hangar 18 is actually down on fucking Pike Street. This album is great. Holy Wars is excellent. What can you say about that? Hangar 18 is just a massive friggin' shred fest. One of my favorite songs on this is fucking Take No Prisoners. I fucking love that. I love the infiltrate them. I love the fucking background on that song. It's fucking take no shit. Fucking awesome song. Five Magics. I like about half of that song. It loses me. It loses me a little bit. I like the gimme alchemy, gimme wizardry. And the five magics are alchemy, wizardry, sorcery, thermatology, and electricity.
Hey, Joe Busky.
So that's the five. That's what the five magics are, in case anyone was wondering. Poison is the Cure. I disagree with BC. I think it's a fucking kick-ass song. The solos are fucking great in it. Lucretia, BB, I'm definitely right there with you. Fucking awesome song. Starts out with the little evil laugh, and I just love it. The solos are fucking great, and it's got a good groove-ish riff to it. You know what I mean? It's a really, really good song. And my absolute favorite song on this album is Tornado of Souls. Fucking love it. There's not one bad thing about this song. Dawn Patrol, a little, spoken word, whatever. We talked about that. This Rust in Peace Polaris, I think, is like kind of like a sort of hidden gem. Maybe not a gem, maybe a hidden nugget on the album. They mentioned our friend in here because it says it's immense in my girth.
Oh, that's right.
We have a friend. His name is Gert, so they talk about him on this album, and he can be immense at times. Yeah. I think it's a really cool song. The end part is really cool. The change in tempo is really good. The shredding in it is great. The shredding is great, but it's too short. I think they could have stretched that out a little bit. And I don't know if anybody listened to that My Creation at the end. It's like about the Bride of Frankenstein. It's a little weird, but overall, it's a great album. I just what Among the Living lacks in lead guitar playing, this album more than picks up the fucking slack. I'm not saying it. I'm just comparing the two. Like listen to one right after the other.
It's a little bit more up front.
This is the one album that we're talking about tonight that the three of us and this table had the pleasure of seeing front to back because they played it on the Rust in Peace live tour.
Oh yeah,
front
we
to
saw
back
it down the
at the Culture Center.
Culture Center.
Yeah, and actually, I think Exodus opened that show. So
They did.
He did.
that was a 2 for 2.
Is
2 out of 4.
Yeah.
That's when the blood was on the floor, right? Or was that bullet?
No, that was Bullet from Valentine.
Bullet from Valentine.
The blow was there. But these songs are great live, and this is another album that has a live album where they do the whole album front to back. It's the second shortest album we'll be talking about tonight. By seconds, Exodus is a little longer, but one album is literally like an EP. But
I'm sorry. One thing, real quick. You talked about them doing. We saw them do Rust in Peace in its entirety. This year on Halloween, they're going to do Euthanasia in its entirety.
oh, that's cool.
I'm
Where's
sorry to
that
interrupt. In Denver, they're going to do that.
Yeah, not
Right, it's
At least
right.
he's gonna be
I guess
busy
it's,
Halloween.
It's right after the mega cruise, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do it on the cruise too. But they're going to do it and probably record it in Denver. I'm sorry, Halloween night.
Holy Wars, I love that they have the second part of it dedicated to the Punisher, an awesome comic book character. I'm always a fan of when comic books come into play. And actually,
Especially music.
I might be talking about comic books in a little bit, but we'll get back to that. Hangar 18's a classic. There's no two ways about it. Actually, there was a ride at one of the amusement parks that we used to go to that we renamed Hangar 18 because it was like
Oh yeah,
Hangar
yeah.
51 or something like that, and it was like an alien conspiracy thing. So we're like, it's Hangar 18 now. Taking Prisoners is a classic. I think Five Magics is the weakest song for me. It's a little too and the lyrics are too hokey.
I like half of it.
Talking about sorcery and alchemy and Poison Was the Cure. I don't mind. Lucretia's pretty good. I have to agree with my dad. Tornado of Souls is the best song on this. One of the coolest Megadeth riffs of all time, I think. One of my favorite Megadeth songs. It's so good. And I love the "Who's to say what's wrong?" It's so good. Dawn Patrol's a nice little interlude. Rust in Peace has a bit of a swing vibe. Did anybody else notice that? It has that swing feel to it. I was like, that's really cool, Megadeth.
Kind of like what's the name of that song on the Maiden album?
Death or Glory.
Death or Glory.
Yeah, it has that swing drums, and I think Nick Menza and Marty Friedman were such a good addition to the band.
They propelled them definitely.
That to me is the definitive Megadeth lineup. They work so well together.
Because I think if they did exchange, I don't know, they would have.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have. I think after this lineup, and this was a lot of people.
The musicmanship increased when these guys
Yes.
joined the band.
But like everybody says, this is iconic, probably the best lineup they had.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I mean, I like a lot of the people that came after. Chris
Oh, yeah.
Broderick was good. I like the new guy that
like
was in
him.
Lamb of God. I like him a lot. He has good chemistry with Dave on stage. I didn't like...
No, he's not from Lamb of God. The
Or-
guitar player?
Well, what's it? Well,
Kiko Lorino or whatever.
what am I thinking of then?
You're thinking, the drummer.
The drummer.
The
He
drummer's
was
from-
the drummer, but he was
Yeah.
only touring with them though.
Yeah. already
Okay.
toured as
Well, I like their guitarist.
Yeah,
their
he's
current
really
guitarist,
good.
He's
I can't
good.
think of what band he was.
Who is
He was
from...
good. Kiko.
Was the one of the bands like
Angra?
Sepultura or something?
He's from
Angra.
Angra.
Angra, yeah, something.
Yeah, he's from Angra, according to... But he's good. I like him a lot.
Chris Broderick, I think, was too
Too technical, too
technical,
precise.
precise of a player. I think,
And I
for
didn't
Megadeth.
like his brother on drums at all.
He was a boring drummer to watch.
He was a very boring drummer. And actually, was his brother playing for the Big Four show? Mm-hmm. Because
They both were.
He messes up the coming back from the slow part of Trust, going to the da-na, da-da-da. He doesn't do the da-na, and
Oh, really?
Yeah, he completely misses it, and then comes in with the
Oh, see?
and it pisses me off every time. But nothing you can do in hindsight. Actually, I think Megadeth was probably the weakest performing band at that Big Four show. As much as I love the songs that they played.
They're an uninspired band live.
Yeah.
They
They're
don't
very
do nothing.
symmetrical on stage.
Yeah.
There's always someone on the right, on the left, and the center.
Yep.
There's no rocking with one another. There's not a lot of interaction between the band members on stage. They're great live. But they're not a very dynamic live band.
And I think it doesn't help that you're following Anthrax, who has Frankie Bello running across the stage, Scotty
Scotty
Ian
doing
doing
the
his
stomp,
like
doing the
stomping,
stomp.
and Joey Belladonna going crazy, and friggin' Frankie on the not Frankie,
Charlie Benante.
Charlie Benante on the drums,
I guess-
pounding the skins.
Yeah, I guess
And then Megadeth is just kind of
Since Nick-
stationary.
Since Nick Ben's on drums, I don't think they have a drummer.
Yeah. I mean, what's his name was pretty good, Jimmy DeGrasso.
Oh yeah,
He's
I'm not
probably
saying none of
came-
them were any good, but
Yeah.
just I don't know, just that.
He was there for a cup of coffee only.
Yeah, but that was the first 2 albums we'll be covering. We'll go into the next 2 bands. Some say the big 2 of the big 4 after we take a break for our hidden gems.
All right, we'll get into a little hidden gem now, and we will start with B.
B. Dylan.
My hidden gem is going to be a little EP with Axl Rose
Ooh.
singing on it. The band is called Rapid Fire. The name of the EP is Ready to Rumble. 5 songs on the album. Cranking kick-ass vocals from Axl Rose. This is way before his LA stint with with Tracy Guns and in Guns N' Roses. Even though this was released in 2014, this is from way back on the Sunset Strip days. Check it out. It's on iTunes. It's fantastic.
Were we together when someone showed us that?
Somebody just showed me this today. Again.
Oh, really?
I'm like,
Because I remember someone recently showing me that, and I can't think of who the hell it was.
was it John Novobilski?
It might have been.
Because he showed me
It might have
today. I saw him.
Shout out to John.
Yeah,
You're
he's
the
like,
man.
you got to get me on the podcast. I'm like, all right. I said, next time we're looking for a guest, I said, I'll give you a buzz.
He's into a lot of
Oh, yeah.
good
He
shit.
knows a lot of
John,
shit.
we love you, buddy. We'll get
So-
you on here, buddy.
So he got me on this today. I listened to it on the way home. Like, wow, this is pretty good.
You just gotta bring some dope shit.
Well, he's the one that told me part of the Paradise City video for Guns N' Roses was filmed at Pocono Downs in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of it is from Wembley Stadium, but the crowd scene, you watch some of the crowd scenes, you could see, that you were at Pocono Downs. You looked at it, didn't you watch
I
it?
did see that. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
got-
it's
you
not
gotta watch.
entirely that show.
it's
It's
not
just
just-
like it's little
Couple
smatterings
snippets
here and there.
But you can
Like
see,
when they show from behind the band.
you see behind the band, you can tell it's spoken.
And actually the building is still that way
Interesting.
Yeah.
at Pocono Downs.
So there
Good.
you go.
Yes, it might have been John the show. I remember someone showed me that, and they played a little bit for me. I was like, oh, that was cool. All right.
I ran into him somewhere and he was like, "Hey, do you hear?" And he rambled.
Yeah,
off
He
a bunch
rambles
of
on a
things.
whole bunch.
Yeah.
There was another one he threw at me. I'm like, I never heard of them
bunch of good
guys.
shit. I mean,
Yeah, cool. All right, good job, BB. Dylan, how about you?
My hidden gem is I was trying to think of something to do that I could tie in with the episode, and actually I'm really glad we went in the order that we did because the first 2 bands we talked about had songs that were inspired by comics, and this album that I'm going to be talking about is no different. So it's by the band Iced Earth. If you guys have ever heard of them, I'm sure you have. They appear on a lot of the covers tribute albums. They're really
Ripper Owen sang on one of their albums.
Yeah, they have an album called The Dark Saga that's based off of the character Spawn. And that came about because they had contacted the creator of Spawn, Todd McFarlane, to make an album cover for their album. And then John Schaefer, who's the guitarist in the band, and actually he's in Demons and Wizards, that's going to be playing with Lizzie Borden in BC. That's where that comes in.
they're playing
But
with this.
Lizzie Borden's really the headliner, BC.
he asked if they could do an album cover for that, and then they're like, "Why don't we just make the whole album about Spawn?" So it's
I was just going to ask that.
So it's a very cool, moody album. It really matches the character pretty well. Have you guys ever heard of Spawn by any chance?
Yeah, it was a like a real people saga on home. I'm going to say, the movie, right? But then
There
it was an
the movie.
animated thing on
Then there was
Homebox.
an animated thing, and
Yeah.
Keith David voiced Spawn.
And
yeah.
John Leguizamo, whatever.
Yeah, he was in the live
He was
action.
like the live action. He was the clown.
Yeah, he was like the bad guy. Yeah, exactly. And it's absolutely an album of its time. You could tell it's from the late '90s, but the character itself is also from the late '90s, so it works perfectly as a soundtrack for the character. So
Yeah, Spawn was cool.
yeah, The Dark Saga by Iced Earth. The album
All right.
cover's really cool too. It's the album cover.
Ooh, that is cool. All right, BC, what do you got?
Like I mentioned earlier. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I put it on shuffle play and 12 hours of shuffle play, and there's so many bands come up, I totally draw a blank now. But this is he's in one of the 2 bands that came up in the shuffle play.
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yes, you're at my house that day, right?
He was in your driveway listening.
This guy comes from a band, Warrior Soul. Corey Clark. In 2006, he did a he did it like not a Warrior Soul, Dirty Rig they're called.
Oh, I remember
And
those guys.
Rock Did It. It's called. Came out as full album.
What's the album?
Rock Did It.
Rock Diddy.
Did Rock do that?
Did Rock Did It? Yes, it did. But I mean, the opening song is "Suck It," and then it
Whoa.
fucking just straightforward rock and roll, no fucking right in your face. And I'm sitting there going, I haven't heard this in fucking forever.
I haven't thought of that band probably since then.
And then like the second track off the album, "Drunk Again." How can you go wrong with that?
We used to jam to that. I remember that now. Yeah.
Just like a star,
I had that CD
Tags,
somewhere.
you know, and then like they close off the album with the song called "Pennsylvania." We're from Pennsylvania. What the heck?
Yeah.
But,
Kentucky's not that far away.
I've always been a Warrior Soul fan, and the guy's a great vocalist. I think very underrated. And this band is just nothing spectacular. Just hand me right in your face,
Straightforward rock.
punch you in the face. I'm like, I forgot even. I haven't listened to that in forever.
That's a cool. Those guys were good. I totally forgot about those guys.
Those Warrior Soul, I mean, all that stuff. I mean, shit. I don't know what they were classified as American alternative metal. I never heard that before.
Oh yeah. That's
Warrior
cool.
Soul. I don't know. I thought they were rock.
Yeah, I thought they were too. All right, cool. I gotta look for that CD now. Fuck, I totally forgot about those guys. Cool one. Mine ties into the episode. It's actually a bonus track from Exodus, from the Atrocity Exhibition.
Is it B?
Exhibit A.
Exhibit L. Okay.
It's a bonus track on there. It's called "Bonded by Banjo."
Banjo.
It's a version of "Bonded by Blood" done with banjos, and it's like maybe like a minute and a half, and it's the same exact. They sing like the first verse or two, but it's done like this like crazy thing, and the solo is like a shredding. It's like very true to the original solo in the song. So they do like the first verse, and then the chorus, and then the solo, and then they do the chorus again. And it's only, I don't even know if it's even 2 minutes long, but it's cool as fuck. And it's like the whole song's like fucking banjos, but it's the lyrics to the friggin' song. So the song is fucking excellent. So check out our hidden gems, you guys. We have BC, Dirty Rig, Rock Did It. We got BB Rapid Fire, an EP called Ready to Rumble with Axl Rose on it from the early 80s Sunset Strip days. Dylan's got the Iced Earth album, The Dark Saga. It's about Spawn. If you don't know Spawn, check it out. It's actually kind of cool. And I have Bonded by Banjo by Exodus. And it's very interesting. It's interesting, but the solo one is like fucking phenomenal. It's cool. Like you listen to it and it's very. You're like, wow, this is Exodus. Like, I wonder who played the banjo because it was fucking cool as shit. So, and I'll throw that on like a mix and it comes up every now and then. Just it gives you a good chuckle because
How many times do you hear that? Who played the banjo?
I know. That might be the first time we ever said that on this show.
I heard it twice going to see Nita.
All right, so we are going to top off the Big Four with the last two bands, and I won't say I'm stuck with. I say I have Slayer. And the album that we are going to discuss is Rain in Blood. Came out on October 7th, 1986. This album is not even 28 minutes. It's not even half an hour. It's like 28 minutes and like 58 seconds. I don't know if it's even. I think it might even be a little shorter than Kiss Dress to Kill. Look that up, though. Give me the time.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah, it's a short album because I guess when it came out on cassette, the whole album's on like a side. So like the whole album's on both sides of the cassette. So you can just play it and then flip it over and then play it again. So there's no side one, side two. Side like the whole side is just the fucking album.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
So Rain in Blood is 28 minutes and 58 seconds. Dress to Kill is 30 minutes and 7 seconds.
No shit.
Wow.
So
Wow. That's crazy.
there you go.
And this album was supposed to come out way earlier, but they were fighting with the record company. They didn't want to put an album out there with Angel of Death on there, which is their first song on the album, which is about the Dr. Joseph Mengele that did all the sick and crazy experiments in the Auschwitz concentration camp. And they've been branded like Nazi guys and all this shit since then. And you know, they say it's just a song that they were, you know, kind of commenting on and just, you know, something they were singing about. Not that they were like worshiping this guy, and it like mentions like the experiments that they did. But it's a fucking brutal start to a fucking album. I mean, this song just like comes out and just like pummels the fuck out of you. The tempo changes in the song are fucking crazy, and the soloing in it is just like insane. And he has this. Once it starts out, then he's got this fucking piercing scream that I don't know how it didn't like shatter the windows of the fucking recording booth. It's just this like, I don't know, something like I don't know, like he sat on a fucking spike or something like when he fucking did that. Just a crazy start to the album, and it's been one of their live staples like since then. And you know, some people, like I said, they branded them like Nazi sympathizers and stuff like that. I don't look at it like that. It's just it's a song. It's something they're singing about. You know, just because you sing a song that has the word devil, it doesn't mean you're a devil worshiper either. And then you go into Piece by Piece. It's straight out rocker. It's got a grinding, crazy song. It's about a cannibal dude fucking like kills people and fucking eats them, like a Jeffrey Dahmer type song. So I mean, you know, you're kind of getting the theme of how this album is gonna fucking go here. Necrophobic, crazy song. He sings it so fast, like it's like an auctioneer singing. Like you don't even, like you have to go back and look through the lyrics to see what the fuck he's saying. But it's just like it's got a crazy solo in it, but it's short. Like some of these songs are like 2 and 3 minutes long, and like Angel of Death is like 4.5 minutes or something like that. But like a lot of the other songs are like barely 2 minutes and change on them. So it's like a really quick, rapid album. Altar of Sacrifice, it's a virgin sacrifice to Satan. Got a ripping, furious solo in it. The tempo change is fucking kick-ass in there. The song goes right into the next song, which is Jesus Saves, which it's, you know, you go from sacrifice at the altar, then it goes into the kind of hypocrisy of organized religion. It's got a little slow grinding start. It kicks in the vocals, then like it ends with some crazy soloing by both guys in the band. Criminally insane headbanging songs. It's friggin' great. Reborn, another song, crazy vocals. How the fuck does he sing these songs? I don't know. Like, read the lyrics. You can't even fucking keep up singing along. I don't even know how the fuck he does it. And he's been doing it since the early 80s. It's fucking crazy. Epidemic, I think it's like a zombie song. You know, it's like, this is the disease, like it. So I guess it is. Postmortem, great grinding song. It's got an insane screaming on it. Tempo change is cool in there. And that's kind of a theme through this album. These guys didn't like to do what their peers have been doing. Like, you get bands like Metallica and Anthrax and Megadeth, the guys we're talking about tonight. There's a lot of longer songs that have the same riff through them, but they'll have time changes, but like not as rapid as that, because they said that they kind of get bored playing the same thing. They like to have a lot of tempo changes in their songs, and they do. That's like a recurring thing. I'd like to go through this album one of these days and just count the time changes like all throughout the album, and it's got to be up there, and like a couple dozen easily between the 10 songs that are on here. Rain and Blood, their iconic song. It's got the cool storm effects at the beginning. I think it's a great song. Ton of time changes in this song. Crazy like whammy bar solo in there, and then it kind of fades out with like the storm at the end of the album. I enjoyed this. I hadn't listened to this album all the way through in like friggin' years, and it's one of them. It took a little bit of getting used to again, but I thought it was great. It's produced by Rick Rubin, who was like a hip hop producer. And but I think he tightened if you listen to the first 2 albums of Slayer, I think Rick Rubin really tightened these guys up, and they put out a cranking iconic thrash metal album. BC.
I'm gonna say this is probably my first time I ever listened to the whole album. I mean, I've heard the songs. Like, probably the first song I ever heard of you guys is Angel of Death. I can remember going back to mid 80s, Slayer. Everybody talked about it. Some people in school would say Slayer, and then you kind of look into them a little bit, and you're like, "What the hell are these guys?" You know what I mean? They were totally different than most of the stuff we were listening to back in that time. But I mean, as time grew on, I mean, their later albums, I really, like you said, the way he sings these are.
I don't know how he does it. I honestly don't know how he.
I don't know how he performs live nowadays because he can't rock out.
No. His vertebrae is fused, I guess. He can't headbang.
When you listen to their music, does your head just start going? You don't realize
he physically can't do that.
Yeah, he can't do that. I don't know how I can't sit there and listen to it sitting in a room like this and my head's going like this.
Yeah.
How can you perform it and not do that? I mean, some of the personalities of the band. But overall, I mean, this is not one of my favorite albums by them overall, but I definitely from when it came out. They did a big for it. It's great live. And
I haven't seen it.
you never saw it?
They're the only Big Four member I have not seen live.
I have not either.
Hey, what do you call it? You never saw it?
Gary Holt.
No.
Oh.
The drummer.
Dave Lombardo?
Is he back? Or
Again? No. No.
I got them mixed up.
He actually left.
He
right
left,
after
came back.
this.
That Paul
He left
Volks
after this.
guy
He left
or
right
whatever.
after this
And then he
album.
came back,
Yeah.
and then he
Came
left
back and
again.
left
and-
Yeah, he's been in and out like a shit.
I mean, I've seen him.
It's like
I've
that
seen
Paul
him play with,
Volks guy or
Suicidal
whatever. I
Tendencies.
forget how to. I can't
Tattoo.
remember.
I remember seeing him.
Yeah, he
not
was
too
with
long ago.
Suicidal
Okay,
Tendencies.
Thank you.
Yeah, that one time.
Yeah.
I think
That was such a random thing, too.
I know. Hey, it's Dave Lombardo.
We have Dave Lombardo on drums. What?
Slayer. Suicidal Tendencies. Like, that's two bands you don't put together.
No. BB.
Yeah,
Wah,
that's
wah.
what I thought.
I'm going to tell you the truth. This is exactly what I wrote down. So, Angel of Death, not bad. Not listening ever to Slayer, expecting Cookie Monster vocals. I go, so I didn't get that. I go, the music and guitar work is really, really good in this song. So then we get the piece by piece. I wrote down, this is turning into heavy metal rap. Because now I'm not listening to the music. I'm more interested when the words he's rhyming. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But I'm stuck on he'll be like, float and boat and hat and bat. And it's like, and I'm like, now I know why Public Enemy and Anthrax got together because of Slayer. Because it's all heavy metal rap.
They did let BB out of rehab for this episode. I'm
But,
just saying.
Once again, the music is good. It just, and the vocals are good. The lyrics, I don't get it. I don't know. He's too worried about rhyming, and that's exactly what I had for the first two. Song number 3, Necrophobic. I said too small. Like you already talked about this, too small tempo changes in the middle and the end, but it's a lot faster than the first two. Jesus Saves is really, really fast, really heavy. But I go, here we go again. It's more of a rap for me. But the guitar work is amazing in this song. And then once I got down to song number 8 in Epidemic, learning it's more about the vocals and rhyming the words than the music. Another tempo change. And Postmortem, there's a really cool King Diamond scream in it. But yeah, I don't know. I this is definitely my least favorite of them all.
We'll rank him at the end.
But maybe it's because it's my ear is just worried about him rhyming his words.
Come on, Tom. You got this, buddy. It's weird. I go back and forth on this album. I think musically it's good. I like the music in it. I'm very uncomfortable when the first word you hear on this album is Auschwitz. That puts me in a place that I don't want to be when I'm listening to music. And I don't quite like the point of view that they're going with it.
Oh, right.
Because it's almost like they're in the point of view of Mangala himself, and that's a very uncomfortable place to be in.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm... because when I listen to metal music, I'm listening for an escape, a good time. I'm listening to bang my head and forget my troubles.
Right.
And meanwhile, we're basically being, a witness and an accomplice almost to these horrific acts, and it's a little uncomfortable. So when I'm tuning out the lyrics, I'm having a good time because this is absolutely the darkest album that we're going to be talking about, probably in the history of the podcast.
Yeah.
The subject matter is really dark, and I find it really funny. There's this sentence in the Wikipedia page where for this album, Slayer decided to abandon the much of the earlier satanic themes explored on their previous album Hell Awaits and write about issues that were more on a street level. Rain and Blood's lyrics include death, anti-religion, insanity, and murdering. And I'm like, oh yeah, street level. Yeah, I get exactly what they're saying. But I mean, I love the music in this album. I don't like the lyrics. I think Rain and Blood has some really awesome time changes and tempo changes. I love the part towards the end where it goes into the... and then and it like deconstructs the main riff and spreads it out, and it's a really cool way to reinvent the thing. But if this was an instrumental album, I would appreciate it a lot more, because I don't want to be listening to this stuff. Because I was saying it's very uncomfortable being in the point of view of Mengele in that first song, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's very uncomfortable. Which I know it's what they're going for, but
So none of you saw him live.
no.
No.
I mean, first time I saw Slayer live, and like everything you envisioned when I was like, this.
It is what you think it's going to be.
It is. It is.
I also don't like Kerry King, so
I mean, this is-
Kerry King, I think he's a douchebag.
yeah.
Sorry, Slayer fans.
Rest in peace, Jeff Hanneman.
Where'd
though.
you see them there, BC?
My Dutch Mountain.
Jeff Hanneman
Oh,
died
for the,
2013, right?
2013, yeah, I think.
Right.
I think. Yeah, he's been dead. He's been
Come
dead.
on.
I also want to point out that there was one band that only one member
Crazy mosh
participated.
going and
So they did like this group jam of Am I Evil by Diamond Head. Only one band had like only one of their members in. Like everybody else was all in with all their members. Slayer only had Dave Lombardo come and play because the rest of the band thought it was a waste of their time.
Really?
Yep. They refused to go on stage for that jam.
Not a fan of that.
So it was just Dave Lombardo. So that
Yeah,
that was my first
I
experience
do
with
not
Slayer.
like Kerry King. I think there was one episode of That Metal Show where Kerry King was on, and he was just like a dick. Like, it looked like he wanted to be fucking... He looked like he'd rather be in the fucking dentist chair getting a fucking root canal than be on this fucking show. He was just like a dick on there, I thought. Maybe you need to be like an asshole like that to write this kind of music. But there's a lot of cool thrash guys out there. Like, he's just... I don't know. I've not seen one thing with Kerry King in it that he wasn't like a dick or did something that I'm like, well, like, what the fuck is the matter with you? I don't know. So Slayer fans out there, if you know a good clip where he's not a dick or something, let me know and I'll check it out and I'll maybe rethink my stance on it. But as it stands right now, Kerry King, douchebag. All right. Now for the finale, we're going to talk about... Tell us, BB.
we're going to talk about Metallica's Master of Puppets. It was Metallica's third studio album. It was released on March 3rd, 1986 on Elektra Records. It was recorded in Copenhagen, Denmark by Mr. Producer Flemming Rasmussen. And it was the first Metallica album released on a major label. And it was the last one with Cliff Burton, who died in a bus accident during this album's promotional tour in Sweden, I believe. It did really well. It peaked at number 29 on Billboards, and it became the first thrash album to be certified platinum. A couple cool little snippets of this. Lars said that actually Geddy Lee was going to produce the album, but because of scheduling problems, he couldn't do it. So I thought that was kind of cool. The way they wrote most of this album was they actually came up with the guitar riffs first, then they came up with a title, and then they went with the lyrics to match the title of the song. So I thought that was kind of weird. And then our buddy Michael Wagner actually ended up mixing this album because Rasmussen and Metallica couldn't manage it. So, so it seems like it's already starting to have a problem, and then they give it to Michael Wagner to finish, and he makes one fantastic album. Let's start. I'll start song by song.
Stop it. Stop with your faces.
What?
We'll get to you when we get to you.
I didn't say a fucking...
Oh
did
my-
anybody hear me say anything?
You're on.
The
I could
face.
be looking at something on my computer that I disagree with.
You weren't. You're looking at the Master of Puppets Wikipedia page.
So,
Stop it.
go ahead, BB.
Okay.
Dylan's sorry that he interrupted you.
All right, Battery. It starts off great. It starts out real slow, acoustic start, and then it starts with this mind-blowing fast guitar riff. Sets a great tempo for the whole album. It actually refers to angry violence, assault and battery. So, you already got where this album is going from these boys. Song number 2, Master of Puppets. Iconic song start definitely with these guys. In the middle, you got that that real cool Master, that, you know, everybody knows the lyrics to that. Master of Puppets, that was actually, they're saying it's a theme to cocaine addiction.
Yep.
So, you know, I don't know where they get Master of Puppets out of cocaine, but maybe
It's controlling you.
maybe.
It's controlling.
Oh yeah. Now I see where you going
Does
with
it
that.
chop your breakfast on a mirror?
True. The thing that sounds should never be. Another great song. I think they're going great hat trick to open up the album. It was more of a Black Sabbath influenced guitar riff song for this one. Really cool vocals. Welcome Home. It's another great guitar opening riff. It's kind of somewhat of one of the slower songs from Metallica, but the solo is so it just grabs you because it's not that thrashy solo. It's more of a slower tempo one.
What song?
Welcome Home.
Welcome Home stands here.
And that is the song's about thoughts of a patient unjustly caged in a mental institution.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
All right. Song number 5, Disposable Heroes. So you go from the somewhat slower to Welcome Home to this one. This picks up the Metallica pace where it left off. Really, really heavy guitar riffs. There's like 3 solos in the song. It's an anti-war song about a young soldier whose fate is controlled by his superiors. Song number 7, Liber Messiah. Another great song that's very guitar heavy. The only thing about this one, it seems like the guitars for some reason are recorded in a hallway. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's something twangy wrong about this one, but that's about the 1980s TV and evangelicals that everybody used to send their money to. Song number 7, Orion, instrumental song, really, really cool. I believe one of the last songs that was recorded with Cliff on it that I read somewhere. And then to close out the album, Damage Incorporated. This song is a definite great album closer. It is like super, super fast, and it rants about senseless violence at an unspecified target, it says. But I really dug this album. It's one of Metallica's iconic albums, and I think this is the album that really put them out there to, you know, somewhat of a mainstream. That it kind of changed this sound that they were going to. That these guys are definitely the forefront of the 5 we're talking about. And I think this album really pushed that genre of thrash metal, you know, to everybody's ear. So, yeah, what do you think, buddy?
This is my favorite Metallica album. I've made no qualms about that. I like the album cover, starting off with that, because it has the white crosses, but you can also see it as lines of cocaine, if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
And I love the symbolism of that, and putting in multiple things of the songs, you know, because you have the Master Puppets. The crosses could be Disposable Heroes because you have the soldier's helmet on the one. The grass you can almost see as like the thing that should not be, corrupting the place. It's a really awesome cover. Going into the songs, Battery is one of the best opening salvos from Metallica. I love the slow, like, acoustic start, and then it kicks in with a dun, 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 dun. So good. Such a good song. It's what Fight Fire and With Fire tried to do in the album before, but better, I think.
Right, yeah.
Because that also starts with the acoustic thing, and then it just kind of fades up into a heavier thing. But I think this perfects it. Master of Puppets, title track, the longest song in the album. You do not feel the length of the song, I don't think.
No, it's like 8 minutes.
It blew my mind that I found out it was 8 minutes long, because every time I hear it, it doesn't feel like 8 minutes. It feels the perfect length. It has everything you could want in a Metallica song. If you were to introduce somebody to Metallica, that's probably the song that I would introduce them with, at least. The Thing That Should Not Be, another Lovecraftian-inspired song like the Call of Cthulhu. I know my dad hates that song, but he'll get to talk about that during his turn. I like it personally. I think it has the right feel for the song. It has that creeping terror that you look for in a song about a monster, The Thing That Should Not Be. Welcome Home Sanitarium is another great Metallica ballad 4th track on the album, like they always put their ballad. Fantastic. I love the ramp up of this song. It starts off really contemplative and sweet, and then just goes into this frantic, phonetic, awesome energy. And if you want to hear a really good cover, Bullet for My Valentine does this phenomenally. Really cool. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard that.
Disposable Heroes to open up side 2 is a great opening track for that side. So good, so heavy, a punch to the face. I love the back to the front. Such a good. And then, of course, Leopard Messiah is my favorite Metallica song of all time. Don't know why. I love the riff of it. Named after a David Bowie lyric from Ziggy Stardust. Like a leopard Messiah. Really good song. Cool subject matter, and just awesome. Orion is a great instrumental. I love the riff in Orion. There's a really cool scene in the Through the Never movie from Metallica. That it's like that concert movie, but it also has like the roadie going on an adventure, and this song is in that movie, and there's a pretty cool scene involved in it. And Damage Incorporated is a great fast-paced song to end the album. It's a nice capper. It's almost a come-down song from all the other songs. I mean, Orion also does that too, because it has that nice little sweet part in the middle there, the almost orchestral type thing. But honestly, front to back, this is a perfect album. I know some might not agree with me, but I honestly, I don't find any fault in it, because though it is 54 minutes long, I don't feel the length. It feels just perfect when I listen to it, and I get excited every time I hear it. BC, do you get excited when you hear Master of Puppets? Where's the dreams that I've been after?
This is probably the worst Metallica album I ever heard.
Really?
Thank you.
I want to just get. No, I mean, I was trying to find it. I can't find it. I think me and you talked once before. My first exposure to Metallica was like vinyl record, the big 12-inch singles. I want to say, I know Hit the Lights is on it.
Oh yeah, it was like a 3-songer thing or something,
Yeah,
right?
2 on 1 and 1,
And one
whatever
of it, yeah.
it may have been. And that was my first. And then of course, Kill 'Em All was my ultimate Metallica album. And of course, Ride the Lightning. I can't go back there. So this is the third exposure to Metallica, I would say. Overall, I mean, it's good. A good album, I think. I mean, I think. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
It doesn't-
Lacking?
Of like rawness. I think
It's too polished.
Yeah, to me, when on a Metallica up to this, and it's like, it's good, but just not. It's lacking that just
Too much polished dust on it.
too much polish dust. I like that.
It needs a little more salt and battery in it.
Yeah, a little more acid on it. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Overall, I mean, like Battery, Master of Puppets, the thing that should not be. Welcome Home is a great song, but overall, I mean, I like it. I want something a little bit more raw. I want a little more heavy.
Kill 'Em All's pretty raw. Like, and I can understand
my
if
favorite.
I can understand if Kill 'Em All's your favorite, that Master of Puppets might seem a little too produced.
Maybe. I mean, but I love that. I remember going back again when you listen to these albums. It takes it back in time.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I saw Metallica. I want to say Broome County Arena.
That was your escapades night, wasn't it?
Oh, that was Ozzy.
No, that was Ozzy.
That was Ozzy
and
Moniker.
Crew. Okay.
Saw
It
him
was
with-
probably with Ozzy though.
and you saw him with Cliff Burton.
Yeah. I can't.
But it had to be.
I don't remember Ozzy playing on.
I think that's the only one they played with around here.
It must have been.
We'll have to dig that up.
But I remember Queensrÿche opened up for Metallica. Or am I
Yeah, but it wasn't that. That was, I want to say that was Injustice for All, maybe because
Okay, maybe.
they did Mindcrime in its entirety on that tour. So I'm going to say
remember
that
that
was
too.
probably Injustice for All.
Boy, that must have been a long ass show, because they
I
were
remember-
playing the Injustice for All songs too.
Like Dylan talked about the album cover. I mean, and I remember they were open up, and that was the backdrop.
And that was the backdrop.
And I thought that was cool because they get the window lights around it. It's a cool album cover too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's good. Rest in peace. But
I will agree. I like Rust in Peace a little better.
All right, Metallica, Master of Puppets. I'll tell you what. Listen to this. There's a lot of shit on there that I forgot that I really liked. I kind of forgot that I really enjoyed Battery. I like the I like the changes in it. Master Puppets. And Dylan, you're absolutely right. It does not feel like an 8-minute and 35-second song.
It doesn't.
Like, it goes by, like, it seems like it's maybe like a 5-minute song. Like, it doesn't seem like it's that long. The thing that should not be is the absolute most boring fucking Metallica song ever. And here's how boring it is. Here's how fucking boring it was. I was listening to it one night. I had the headphones on, right? And I was scrolling through Facebook while I was listening to it. And someone posted a video of Elvis doing Suspicious Minds. So I paused the fucking music and then plugged my headphones into my computer and watched Elvis play Suspicious Minds while this song was on. And I'm like, wow, this song's so much better than this fucking shitty Metallica song. And then it got over and I put it back on and I'm like, this song still sucks. Welcome Home Sanitarium, really cool song. I like it. I like how it's kind of like a building song. The lead in the harmonic lead in the beginning is really cool. It's a great build song. Awesome kick in, like, and I like when they do it like, leave me the fuck alone. I fucking love that. Disposable Heroes, really good. It's got that odd drum beat at the beginning that is just so weird but cool. I like that. I think that is my hidden gem on this fucking album. I really like that song. Yeah. The solo's great in it. It's very Iron Maiden-esque, this song, I think. It's got an Iron Maiden feel to it for me. And that's another song that it doesn't seem as long as it is, because that's like another 8-minute song. Yep. Leper Messiah, Dylan, I like it. Okay, it's got a heavy grinder. The background vocals are fucking great. It kicks up later in the song. The solo in it is excellent. Orion, boring, very fucking boring. It's 8 minutes and 27 seconds long. It takes fucking, and I timed it, 7 minutes for the song to fucking kick up. Boring. Damage Inc., good rocker, good finish to the album. It kind of takes you right back to the feel of Battery, and I like how you begin thrashy, you end thrashy, with some shit in the middle. But some really good stuff in there too.
You only said 2 songs again that were.
But I'd hate to see if you did like 3 songs.
Yeah.
And I agree with BC to a certain extent on the production of this album. The production of this album reminds me of listening to Hotter Than Hell and then listening to Dressed to Kill. Like, I don't like the production. I think it's. I don't care for it at all.
You like the production of Hotter Than Hell better than Dressed to Kill?
No, I'm not saying. No, it reminds me of that, but like in reverse, because the production on Ride the Lightning is so much clearer, so much like raw, and I think it. And you're totally right, BC. It's too polished, and I think it's too polished that it I don't like it. I don't like the sound of it. I love the songs. Like the ones that I love. I like live are fucking fantastic. But like I said, I gotta give the thing that should not be. Words cannot express how much I fucking hate that song. It's just so fucking boring. It's the worst Metallica song ever.
You need to re-listen to Load and Reload, because I'm sure you're gonna find some songs that you hate more than that.
I doubt it. It's just so.
Like
I don't know it. Huh?
Ronnie.
I don't know.
Lou Reed. Wherever Lou Reed is, he's hopping up and down and like clapping.
Yeah.
Good.
Brandenburg Gate.
It's terrible. It's just I just fucking hate it. But that's shit I don't listen to.
Junior Dad.
I think it's terrible. I never even heard them fucking songs before. But that's how I fucking hate that song. And but I don't hate the album. I don't like the production of it, and like the songs that I don't like, I really don't fucking like. But
an instrumental and 1 song.
Yeah. So, but like that brings it down a couple notches for me for how much I hate that fucking song.
We'll have to put the Steve Wright addition and subtraction equation on this album.
I contend that the instrumental on this album is better than the instrumental on Ride the Lightning. I think Orion's better than Call of Cthulhu.
I'll have to listen to them back to back.
Yeah.
I'm sure Call of Cthulhu is a little more exciting. Like Orion's just plotting. It's just like it's an instrumental version of the thing that should not be. It blows.
It is not.
But the solo in it, the solo in it, the kick
is it better than Dawn Patrol? Because that was another instrumental we listened to.
Yeah, but that's only like a 2-minute thing.
I love that one like. That's such a cool like little interlude in that song.
Boring.
And the riff is great.
Boring.
It's a catchy riff.
Boring. All right. There's our big 5, and I know we could have thrown Testament in there. We could have thrown Death Angel in there. There's a couple other bands we could have thrown in there, but we gotta kind of rein it in a little bit. Which, not saying we won't talk about those guys later on. Let's go around the table, do final words, and then rank your albums, best to worst, and then we'll wrap up. PC.
Megadeth, rest in peace. Followed by, I got to go Metallica, Slayer, and then Exodus.
No,
We can talk about Anthrax.
No Anthrax?
Come on.
Wow.
I told
They
you.
didn't even make the cut.
Didn't even make
Wow.
the cut. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. Megadeth. I'm going to go with Metallica by hair.
Okay.
Anthrax, Slayer, Exodus. See,
Okay.
I was thinking 4, and I...
Done.
Okay, so we're going hierarchy. I'm going to shock the people and say I like Anthrax the best. And then slightly lower, and oftentimes above.
By a
Metallica,
nose.
Master of Puppets. And then we go down just a tiny bit more, just a couple steps, and we go to Rust in Peace, Megadeth. And then we go down, we're jumping a couple flights. We're going to go to Exodus. and then we're on the ground floor with Slayer.
BB.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as Dylan. I have Metallica on top. I have Anthrax, Megadeth, Exodus, and Slayer.
I have Megadeth. I'm gonna put Metallica and Anthrax for a tie,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna go Slayer just a little bit above Exodus because of production values alone.
That makes sense.
And you guys out there, if you're a fan of this, check out the Exodus redoing Binded by Blood. It's called Let There Be Blood. Came out in 2008. Much better production, ramped up sound on it. Vocals are much better, so check it out. If you're a Exodus purist, sorry, but that's my opinion. And so let's do final thoughts, and we will wrap this bitch up. Dylan.
Thrash metal, I love the genre. I loved most of the bands that we talked about tonight. I think it's a really good genre to dive into head first, honestly, because there's so many good albums that you could go on with all these bands. Anthrax, you could throw a dart at the board and hit any album that's going to be good. John Bush, Joey Belladonna alike, they're all fantastic. They all have something really good involved in them. Metallica, I mean, there's some that are Megadeth, there's one that's
BC's
and
favorite risk.
And it's very and then Slayer, I'm not as familiar with, so I can't really tell you. But Exodus has some fantastic albums too. So whatever you jump into, whether it be Ride the Lightning or Master Puppets or Persistence of Time, I'll go Stop 442 or Among the Living or Risk or no, but they're all good. It's all fun, and this is an awesome genre of music, and I'm glad that we spotlighted it.
Yeah, this one was a little bit. This is probably the toughest one for me. It's I'm not a fan of this thrash metal thing, but 60% of it I enjoyed tonight between like the Metallica, Megadeth, and Anthrax. They're really good. The other two, I kind of had a little bit of trouble getting through them. But it's music. It's like pie. Like everybody likes pie, but
No, I
BC
don't.
likes pumpkin, and I like coconut cream. Or
I don't eat
whatever.
pie at all.
I don't like pie.
Really?
I don't like pie.
All right.
You don't
so,
eat no
so
pie?
it's like beer.
Well,
So it's like beer. Dylan likes the cider. BC likes it cold.
You don't eat no pie.
It's what
Large
it's
pie,
what you
fries,
like.
Keep going.
But some of this was a little bit tough. But that's just as cranky old me. But the music, fantastic. All three bands. Vocals somewhat spotty here or there. But once again, it's just a great topic, and a lot of the music.
we talked about
That we're
5
not gonna-
bands, right?
No, he's saying the 60% that he liked.
Oh, the
Yeah, 60%.
Oh,
the 3
okay.
out of
I'm
the
sorry.
5. That's
Oh, okay.
60%, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's 60.
Yeah.
80 and 100.
I missed the
You're good.
percentage
I
part.
was,
I'm
listen,
sorry.
I
Thank you,
checked out
Dylan.
the first time he
Ooh,
said
fucking
60.
talking
So
about
you're
5
all
bands.
good.
What the fuck is he talking about?
60%. How does it get 60 out of 4? But yeah, like I said, it's what you like, and some of this I like, and some of it I didn't. But musically, all 5 bands are fantastic. Vocally, some of them are a little lackluster for me.
Coming into tonight, Megadeth, Metallica, and Anthrax, I was familiar with because I listened to from back in the day, and the two later ones were the ones that I really had to delve into. Not pretty much Exodus, I think, the early Exodus. But overall, I mean, hey, like Dylan said, it's good music to get into. Is there such a thing as bad music? Well, I take that back.
Yeah.
There is.
There is, unfortunately, but I mean, everybody has their own flavors. BB likes chocolate.
What's that?
I might like strawberry. I don't know. And somebody might like pistachio. But everybody likes ice cream. Anyways, good time.
I've been waiting to kind of do a thrash episode for a long time now. We were trying to come up with a way to kind of introduce our podcast to some of the thrashier stuff. I know we've talked about Megadeth before and Metallica and stuff like that, but I wanted to kind of get into some of the heavier stuff. And let us know what you guys think out there. Out of the 5 that we did, how would you rank them? If you think that there's whatever you think that like one of these bands' best albums are, let us know what you guys think. If you had to pick a best album from Metallica, Exodus, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, let us know what 5 albums from these bands are your guys' favorites out there. And let us know, and we'll respond with ours. And it was a fun episode to do. And I was like BC, like and probably all of us here, like I haven't really listened to that Slayer album all the way through in forever, and the Exodus one also. And I forgot how much I didn't like the production on that, but like the one I've been listening to was the remake from 2008. This fucking sounds excellent. So we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We want to thank you again for spending some time with us. And I know, time is one of the commodities out there that is like the most precious, and we appreciate you guys spending some of that time with us. And let us know what you guys think. BB had a little rough time listening to this shit here. Next week's episode is going to be fucking all cool shit that like everyone likes, like of us. Like it's not like we're not torturing. I consider this like a BB torture show where I know that he doesn't like the stuff like a lot of this vocally. But next episode we get to choose what we throw out there. So it's going to be an interesting one, and I can't wait. It's going to be a tough one for me to fucking narrow down. So you guys, thanks out there again. We love you. Keep sharing us. Word of mouth, and this show gets better because of you guys out there talking about us, sharing us, spreading us. Talk to your metalhead friends about us, and we appreciate you guys. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We will see you next time, and there definitely will be a next time.